California is quite possibly the best state in the entire United States for theme parks and roller coasters. So it shouldn't be a surprise that they have a couple really good wooden coasters, and 6 total. In this video, we will rank California's wooden coasters from worst to best. I will note though that this is only going to be including operating wooden coasters. Defunct coasters, or even ones that have been RMC'd into Twisted Colossus and Joker, are not going to be included. With that being said, let's get it started with number 6, Grizzly at California's Great America, opened in 1986. You might think this wooden coaster is on the older side, which is true, but it is nowhere near the oldest wood coaster on this list, but more on that in a minute. Grizzly has pretty impressive stats and looks like it should be a fun ride on paper. 3,200 feet of track, a height of 91 feet, and a speed of 55 miles an hour. It's actually the fastest coaster at Great America. Unfortunately though, when you actually ride Grizzly, it does not live up to what it looks like it should be off-ride. There are a couple of bumpy valleys, but generally this ride is not terribly rough. That's not the issue. The issue is that it just doesn't really do anything. Outside of a weird lateral kink going into the turnaround that you just saw a moment ago, the ride has very little force and no airtime. I guess you could say this is a decent family coaster, and I guess that's true. But within its own park, it doesn't really work for that, because it has a 48-inch height requirement. The same height requirement as 2 much wilder and more thrilling coasters in Railblazer and Gold Striker. Number 5, Giant Dipper at Belmont Park, opened in 1925, designed by Pryor & Church. Okay, a major disclaimer here, and that is I have not actually ridden this coaster, and it's the one coaster on the list I have yet to experience. So this placement is based off of what I've heard from others that have ridden it. This coaster also has a pretty respectable length, coming in at 2,600 feet of track. Even though it is shorter than Grizzly by about 20 feet, and yet it still has that same top speed of 55 miles an hour. The layout looks pretty fun. The main thing in question here is the smoothness. I've kind of heard good things and bad things in terms of Giant Dipper's smoothness. Some say it's not really an issue, and others say it's pretty bumpy. So if you've ridden it recently, let me know down below. How smooth is Giant Dipper running this year? Number 4, the older Giant Dipper, opened in 1924, also designed by Pryor & Church. This Giant Dipper is up the coast a bit, and I have had the privilege to ride this one. And for being over 100 years old, this thing is running pretty dang well. Since we were talking about smoothness a moment ago, with this Giant Dipper, I wouldn't call this ride rough, but there are a couple of jerky transitions. This is to be expected though from a coaster that literally opened a century ago. Generally speaking though, the Boardwalk has done a really great job maintaining this coaster. Not only is it still rideable and enjoyable in 2025, but it's a lot of fun. It's a testament to all the work and money that this park has put into this coaster so that it's still running so strong. And unlike another certain wood coaster on this list, this ride actually has some forces, some decent laterals at points from side to side, and a couple good moments of airtime, especially if you're sitting towards the back. And even though there are a couple of pretty big hills, the pacing on this coaster is actually pretty good, and it gets faster as it goes along. So overall, I really enjoyed this ride, and I think it's the best ride at Santa Cruz, period. And with both this ride and the other Giant Dipper down at Belmont Park, it's cool to still be able to ride some of these really old coasters that are just from a completely different era. And even some of the older technology that's displayed in the station and around some of the other parts of the ride is cool to see as well. Cool to see how they did things like that back in the day. Number 3, Apocalypse at Six Flags Magic Mountain, opened in 2009, built by Great Coasters International, or GCI. If you think about it, this coaster really isn't that much newer than the 2 ones we just talked about. I mean, age is just a number, right? This ride originally opened as Terminator Salvation the Ride, and now it took on a more generic theme because they lost the licensing, but it still has some of the old theming left. This isn't Disney, Universal, or European theme park level, but you know, it's better than a lot of the other coasters Six Flags has. And that sets the stage for this GCI Twister coaster. To be honest, one of the biggest benefits about these coasters being newer in the top 3 is that these GCI trains are a lot more comfortable than those Morgan trains. And it's a good thing that these trains are padded because while this coaster is not the roughest wooden coaster you'll ride, it's not even the roughest one on this list, it is a little bit bumpy for sure. That being said, they did a nice job with this ride's layout, a nice mix of turns and airtime moments. And in my opinion, this is best experienced up front. The one main issue with Apocalypse is that it really slows down after that station flyby in the second half of the ride, but the first half is a lot of fun. And the second half is still enjoyable, but it doesn't match the pacing, airtime, or forces of the first half of the ride. This is the only wooden coaster left at Six Flags Magic Mountain, despite all the roller coasters they have. And to represent the genre, it's a nice B+ type coaster. Nothing outstanding, just a solid attraction. Speaking of GCI, number 2, Gold Striker at California's Great America, opened in 2013, built by GCI. There are no doubt similarities between Gold Striker and Apocalypse, especially because they're made by the same company and are the same type of layout. Apocalypse's best moments, though, are outshined by the majority of Gold Striker. This coaster's pacing is sensational. You rip through this ride's course, pausing at no times to catch your breath. It's hard to believe that this coaster is not even 54 miles an hour, because it definitely feels a lot quicker than that. The elements are sequenced in masterful fashion, and I think also another thing helping this ride's sense of speed is the tunnels and near misses throughout most of the layout. And another thing that probably makes this coaster feel as intense as it does is the roughness. Unfortunately, this coaster is definitely bumpy. There are a couple of points in particular that on my 2025 rides I found pretty uncomfortable. So even for a seasoned coaster enthusiast, maybe not the best idea to give this coaster 2, 3, 4 laps in a row even if the line is short, but this coaster's layout and forces are fantastic, and a fast and furious coaster to be sure. The same can be said for number 1, Ghost Rider at Knott's Berry Farm, opened in 1998, originally designed by Custom Coasters International or CCI, and refurbished by GCI in 2016. There's some debate as to if this is a CCI coaster or a GCI coaster, because when GCI came in and refurbished this coaster, they did a lot of work for it. They reprofiled some elements, they retracted, they gave it new trains, but I think since CCI designed the layout, it's still a Custom Coasters International creation. I just said that Gold Striker had masterful sequencing in this coaster's layout, but Ghost Rider is an even bigger example of a beautifully designed layout. And unlike every other coaster on this list, it's split up into 2 distinctly separate halves. The first half features mostly big drops and high turns off the ground. But that is only the preamble to the best section of Ghost Rider, and that is the second half, where you're flying through the structure. Speaking of never letting up, this coaster never lets up, and at night the pacing is incredible. You really feel like you're going to go flying off the track in some of the moments here in the second half of Ghost Rider. Despite the fact that this is basically a parking lot coaster, Ghost Rider basically has everything you could be looking for a wood coaster. An excellent layout, excellent elements featuring airtime and laterals, in particular in that helix at the end, and overall great pacing. And at least as of my last rides, this coaster is running pretty smooth for a wooden coaster, which is great to see. So I think it's the best wooden coaster in all of California, and one of the best wooden coasters probably in all of the United States. So there you go, the wooden coasters of California ranked from worst to best. Let me know what you think of my rankings down in the comment section below. And do you think Gold Striker or Ghost Rider is the premier coaster here? And if you enjoyed it, please consider subscribing down below. I would very much appreciate it, and there'll be a lot more coaster and theme park related content coming soon to this channel. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.